different movie than I thought it was.
Very.
How so?
So I never saw this before tonight. I've known that it existed for a very long time. Didn't really know a ton about it. And it was so weird because like all of the things that seem to kind of define overview accounts of what the 80s were culturally, they're like there and they're like incredibly literal. The whole like pastiche replacing modernism thing is just like over, and they're just like referencing it over and over and over again. And the whole idea of like, oh, we're pulling on the grandeur of the past and the idea that it's fleeting to say that we're going to live forever thing. Like it's like a very triumphant movie about dying.
Wow. You totally just like missed the vibe of the movie.
Yeah, I think
No.
Dan has like a remarkable knack for seeing like the darkest possible interpretation and even like the dumbest, most cheerful things. Like,
Right. So Dan, that's not to say that I necessarily disagree with your analysis, but it totally kills the vibe of the movie.
yeah, like if we're gonna, okay, maybe we should like describe what this movie is about and the overall tone before, because like right now we've got a bunch of listeners who think that this is a movie about accepting death or something.
Well, no, so you have an old man thinking about the past to the point where he accumulates his junk in the exact pattern that Orson Welles accumulated all the random like statues and crap at the end of Citizen Kane in Xanadu, hence the title, right before Kane dies, and he says that thing that I've said in every other episode, go back and look for it. And and then he meets what seems to be a projection of his own past in this woman who can never actually be reached, like a postmodern signified. And then he just sort of looks back at the past, but he never has to actually, there's no danger, there's no conflict. And he makes repeated remarks about like, they say the past can never come back. Well, I'll show those fuckers. And he starts dancing basically, right? Like,
Oh God.
Okay, so now with that prelude, Elizabeth, can you tell us what the movie is? Because when we did the episode last week and we started watching the movie, we stopped 2 minutes into it with Dan saying, "This is the most Liz movie I've ever seen." So there was no way that we were going to be watching that without.
Oh yeah, no. Like aesthetically, this is I feel like we have the lady here herself. She should.
Yeah.
Oh boy. Okay.
I mean, I can explain a little bit of what I was saying, but I feel like it would.
No, we could get back to it. But
yeah,
starting with the meat, but we need to start with the appetizers.
Yeah.
So
let's get a sense for what the movie was.
Right. So this is a movie that's set very much like right off the bat. It's like bam, 1980s. You got the fashion, you've got the neon, but basically it opens up with a young, handsome man who is an artist, and he's doing a series of studies and paintings, and you see him repeatedly throwing his artwork out. He's just throwing it away, like crumpling it up, because he's just really frustrated with what he's working on.
The only thing he's happy with is his hair.
The only thing, and his like very tight jeans. No. And we see him at one point throw this one drawing of a woman out. He just rips it up, throws the crumpled pieces of paper out of a window, and they blow across the city of Los Angeles. And then they like somehow knock against this mural of like 9 dancing women, and they all like come to life with like these weird glowing neon outlines, and they start like dancing, and there's like music happening, and you're just sitting there like, what's going on? And then it cuts to a scene where we see the same artist like coming back to his old job where he like did all sorts of like commissioned like artwork, like basically like replicating various like album covers and posters and stuff like that, like stuff that he doesn't care about, but it's like the only way that he can make money. But now I'm trying to remember if like
he has no artistic ambition, but he has to be frustrated, or else you just think he's a corporate hack, even though the thing that the muse is telling him to do is create commercial packaging to sell things, which is so 80s, it like hurts.
Yeah, there's like some
And you've
hint
got to
of like,
package it
oh.
in like neon that, as I said many times, made me hungry because it just looked like shiny butter. And then like everything
Said
was
no
like
one ever except you.
the outline of corn. And then they put it on a grill. I'm stunned. Anyway, back to Elizabeth.
Okay, well, anyway, so on the way into his old crappy job, he, like, for some reason, and because it's the movies and, like, we have a weird sexist culture, this, like, woman comes up behind him and grabs him, and then
Without
he
his
turns
consent.
around.
Dan, what did you
and
think of that? Sorry.
She
That was the weird
turns around
culture.
and she just randomly kisses him, a complete stranger, and we have no idea why. And then like she just disappears, and he's like, "What just happened?" And then later on, like when he's at his job, he like gets a new commission where he's supposed to paint a giant version of this album cover, and on the album cover is the same exact woman that he ran into, who kissed him. So he starts to get a little bit like, "Whoa, like it's a sign." And then he eventually like, well, I think at some point after that, we see some ridiculous sequence where he's like riding roller skates while like holding onto the back of a truck, which also felt very 80s.
That was so 80s.
And then we like at some point he a little bit later on that day or something, he like meets this talented clarinetist, like older man on the beach who is Gene Kelly, and woo, and they kind of become friends and they start talking, and Gene Kelly's like, "Why are you bummed out?" And he's like, "I saw this woman." And so their lives become kind of intertwined, and I guess Gene Kelly talks a little bit.
Gene Kelly just basically decides like he's like, "Hey, young man that met me at on like a random hill on a beach somewhere, I'm gonna be your dad." And he's like, "Yo, that's cool."
/ older boyfriend.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Gene Kelly is making like he just like he puts his arm back. If Olivia Newton-John had been there, it would have looked like he was trying to make like Frank Sinatra or Dean Martin, "I'm drunk and I want to sleep with you" vibes. But he's just looking at this guy and it's like, "Oh yeah, that girl, you got to chase that girl, buddy."
Yeah.
Like
his best come hither pose.
well, actually, no, he doesn't even like. He seems like uncomfortable when what's his face talks about girls. Like I get this sense that Olivia Newton-John and Gene Kelly are both like jealous over the nobody that we can't remember his name.
Oh, Sonny, the
Sonny, right?
the main guy,
the artist named Sonny. There's definitely like undertones there. I don't really know how important it is though, because it really has nothing to do with like whatever the plot in the movie is. But
there is no plot. It's all just like
there's kind of
loose iconography floating around.
Did we mention that
basically one of the things that comes to light when Sonny meets this older man on the beach is like, you know, he like gave up his music dreams years ago because he was like tortured by losing this woman that he really loved, and he never came back to it, and he ended up spending most of his career doing something he didn't care about. So it's kind of like, you know, a little foil, like, Sonny, you should do something you feel passionate about and like follow your dreams. And then
apparently he has a lot of dreams about Olivia Newton-John covered in shiny butter.
Did we mention that this is a musical?
Oh yeah, right. There's lots of like fun, peppy 80s music.
Yeah.
And then I think after that is the part where he like runs into Olivia Newton-John's character, whose name is Kira, and they like, well, he like runs into her at the building that's in the album cover, on
Which
the album
is a
cover.
Dilapidated old, it's a dilapidated old center, like a auditorium. It actually says auditorium on the.
Yeah, it's some kind of famous location, because I swear to God I've seen that thing, and so like when I saw it when it was broken down, I could have sworn it was the outside that they used for the planetarium exterior in Rebel Without a Cause, but I don't think that's what it is now. But like it's some kind of, it's like a famous theater in Los Angeles or something.
Oh,
I think.
So Xanadu is
that would be an errata
thing. I'm getting ahead of myself.
Well,
As we all know.
Xanadu, I mean, that's what's so weird though, because Xanadu in Citizen Kane is just the sign that like his bid for immortality through accumulating crap is pointless, and all he wants is a return to childhood. And then this movie, it's just sort of like get all the crap and you can return to childhood, and it's going to be fucking awesome. You know that you keep getting older, but the girls all stay the same age, right? Like Matthew McConaughey in Dazed and Confused.
Yeah, it is really weird. It's like an 80s movie looking back on the 40s, which is so funny because I feel like nowadays we're like now looking back on the 80s kind of, or just any time other than now, honestly.
Well, it's like claiming it as empire, right? Like whenever somebody wants to, when like a political regime wants to declare itself the new empire, it always tries to create some kind of monument to something that looks Roman or Greek.
Oh yeah, like the Iranian Shah.
The Iranian Shah, like Hitler's proposed renovations of Berlin before it got bombed out and the war ended.
Right.